Hey there. Before we begin, take a deep breath. Just a slow, calm breath. Hold it for a second and let it out. Good. That's perfect. If you're preparing for the MCAT, you've probably had that frustrating moment where you read a passage, think you understand the biology, and then glance at the answer choices. And nothing seems right. You know the terms, you know the process, but somehow it doesn't make sense. That feeling is normal. It's not because you're bad at biology. It's not because you're not prepared. It's because most students misunderstand what the MCAT is actually testing. And that's exactly what we are going to unpack in this audio. By the end, you will see biology through the lens of the MCAT, and it will suddenly start making sense. Take a moment and picture this. The MCAT is not simply a content exam. It is a reasoning exam that uses biology as its language. It is designed to test how you think under conditions of uncertainty. Most students approach it like a standard college exam, asking, "What is glycolysis?" or "What is the function of mitochondria?" But the MCAT almost never asks straightforward factual questions. Instead, it asks questions like, under abnormal conditions, which step of glycolysis is most likely disrupted? Or, given this experimental setup, which outcome is expected? Same topic, completely different approach. The MCAT assumes you already know the basics. Now it wants to see your reasoning skills in action. Let's pause here for a second. Imagine a passage describing a mutation that disrupts mitochondrial membranes. Many students immediately think, ATP production stops completely. That feels logical, right? But it's incomplete. Glycolysis still occurs in the cytoplasm, so ATP is still being produced. The correct answer is reduced ATP, not zero. This is an example of why MCAT biology rewards thinking in systems rather than absolutes. Biology is not a collection of isolated facts. It's a network of processes that compensate for each other. The MCAT tests whether you can follow that logic and apply it to new scenarios. Let's repeat that slowly. Biology is a network of processes, not isolated facts. The MCAT tests. Reasoning, not memorization. Keep this in mind as we continue. Now let's talk about another reason the MCAT feels tricky. Passages are intentionally dense. They include unfamiliar proteins, pathways, and experimental setups. Many students feel overwhelmed and start skimming. But here's the secret. You do not need to memorize every detail. You need to understand the role each part plays in the system. Whenever you read a passage, ask yourself 3 questions. What is being changed? What is being measured? And what is the relationship between the two? Everything else is background noise. Let's pause and let that sink in for a moment. Picture the passage as a small machine. Each piece has a purpose. Your job is to figure out how the pieces interact, not to memorize every label. Here's a mini example. Imagine an enzyme speeds up a reaction. The passage says the reaction rate increases, but the equilibrium doesn't change. Many students panic, thinking they missed something. But enzymes speed up reactions without changing equilibrium. This is a trap MCAT frequently uses, combining a true statement with a misleading implication. Pause for a moment and visualize that. See how focusing on relationships instead of memorized terms reveals the correct answer? Let's add another layer. The role of the passage is critical. Many students rely on prior knowledge and ignore the passage. That is a huge mistake. On the MCAT, the passage is the authority. If your prior knowledge conflicts with the passage wins every single time. Think of the passage as the patient and you as the doctor. You cannot argue with what the patient tells you. You must interpret it correctly. That mindset alone changes your entire approach to every question. Now, let's talk about relative correctness. Most MCAT answers are not fully correct. They are simply the least wrong. That's why many students eliminate the right answer. They are searching for perfection. Remember, MCAT is not testing perfection, it is testing consistency. Pause and repeat that to yourself. Consistency is key. Perfection is not rewarded. Let's take another example. A passage describes an experiment in which oxygen levels are altered. Many students immediately assume ATP will increase proportionally with oxygen. That seems logical, but the experiment also introduces a mitochondrial defect. What happens now? The ATP increases partially but not fully. The correct answer reflects this subtle change. The MCAT wants students to integrate multiple factors and reason through the system. Imagine a balance scale. One side is oxygen, the other is mitochondrial function. The final ATP output depends on both. Another point, the MCAT loves to test what biology does not do. A common trap is combining a true statement with a false implication. For example, an enzyme increases reaction rate. True, but it says this changes equilibrium. False. Many students select these options because the first part is familiar. The exam is designed to punish surface-level memorization and reward reasoning. Pause for a moment and imagine spotting that trap in a practice passage. Graphs and data are another area where students struggle. Don't panic when you see numbers, tables, or charts. The MCAT is not testing your math. It is testing your ability to interpret trends. Ask, is this increasing or decreasing? Does this variable depend on another? Once you focus on relationships instead of numbers, the data becomes an ally. Pause and imagine yourself calmly reading a graph, confidently spotting trends. Time pressure is another factor. Many students rush, skim, and revert to memorization under pressure. The MCAT rewards calm, deliberate reasoning. Slowing down may feel risky at first, but it saves time and increases accuracy in the long run. Take a short mental pause. Picture yourself confidently reading, analyzing, and eliminating wrong answers one by one. Let's repeat the most important mental shift. Stop asking, what do I know? Start asking, what must be true based on this passage? Let that guide your reasoning. Repeat that in your mind. The passage guides the answer. Extremes are dangerous. Logic rules. Keep this principle at the forefront of your strategy. Another mini example, imagine a cell under oxidative stress. The passage describes increased reactive oxygen species. Some students immediately jump to conclusions about apoptosis or energy failure. But if you analyze relationships step by step, ROS leads to specific pathway activation. The correct answer emerges naturally. Pause. Think slowly. Visualize each step in the system. Let's add another human element. Most students get frustrated and say, I don't understand this passage. But frustration is just a signal. It tells you to slow down, break the passage into pieces, and focus on logic. Take a moment. Breath. Reset. This small pause dramatically improves performance. Repetition helps. Let's revisit the key idea again. Biology is a system. MCAT is a reasoning exam. The passage is your guide. Extremes are dangerous. Relative correctness is the rule. Data and graphs are tools, not threats. Calm reasoning wins. Internalize this slowly. Mini analogy. Think of a city's power grid. Some power plants fail, others compensate. You are asked how much electricity is available. You don't guess a single number. You reason. Plant A fails, plant B works. Total is reduced but not zero. That is exactly how MCAT tests systems thinking. Pause, visualize this analogy. Another mini story. Imagine you are a doctor reading a patient report. The report contradicts your prior assumptions. Do you ignore it? No, you integrate it. That's what the MCAT passage expects. Every detail has meaning. Your reasoning must be consistent. Pause and imagine practicing this mindset. Let's repeat this principle one last time. The passage guides your answer, not memorized facts, not intuition. Logic and relationships rule. Every trap, every confusing sentence, every tricky answer choice is intentional. It tests reasoning, not memorization. Before we close, take a deep breath and reflect. You've just learned how to think about MCAT biology in a completely new way. systems, logic, passage authority, relative correctness, calm reasoning. These are the core tools. Use them consistently. Practice passage by passage, question by question. Visualize analogies. Pause when needed. Think slowly. Repeat key principles. Thank you for listening. You've just taken a major step in transforming how you approach MCAT biology. Apply this mindset, and the exam will feel less random, less frustrating, and much more manageable. Keep practicing, stay calm, and remember, MCAT biology is precise, it's intentional, and now so is your strategy.